Alright everybody, I need your ears for a second, or a minute. I live in a neighborhood that's been dealing with crime for quite a few years. And for the last 2 years, I have been trying to tackle the problem of crime in our neighborhoods. And I've been seeing it happen to other neighborhoods. Now we have the Nextdoor app, and we have the Neighbors app. Those are the two main ones that I like to look at. The Nextdoor app is a little more busy with all kinds of other advertisement, but it still serves a purpose. Here is my plan. If you choose to help me out with this, bear with me. Okay. Some neighborhoods are shaped like horseshoes, some neighborhoods are shaped like circles, some are shaped like, books stacked together with the different roads. My neighborhood happens to be one of those that's kind of shaped like a square. And you got the smooth corners like going around a racetrack, and then you have all the streets in the middle. What the criminals are doing in my neighborhood in particular, they're going down the street and they're going cross street, cross street, cross street to everybody's home. Now, if you live in one of those neighborhoods that has a bunch of cars on the side of the street, like parked literally on the side, not in a driveway, that is like candy land for the criminals, because they'll just stay in their vehicle in most cases and just lean out of the vehicle, grabbing on the door handles to check and see if your car doors are open. What I propose is number one, in each area, each neighborhood, like your neighborhood, whatever neighborhood you live in, find a person like me, that some people would call abnormal just because we care about our neighborhood and we're sick of criminals. One person to take charge. Now this has to do with patrolling your own neighborhood, keeping communication with everybody within your neighborhood, whether it be by phone, by email, whatever your choice for that neighborhood, how you want to communicate with your neighbors, so be it. And what you want to do is you want to keep communication. What you're doing is you're getting information from all your neighbors that are willing to sign up for it, to communicate with you. Be it your neighbor down the street sees somebody going through their neighbor's yard when their neighbor's not around. That would be suspicious behavior, especially if they stop to look at their stuff. Somebody going through the neighborhood, pulling on car handles, looking into people's cars, that's suspicious behavior. That head person would gain people on their sign-up list all around their neighborhood, if possible, idealistically covering all entrances. All these people would in turn send their information to this guy, and when he gets information, he can send it out to the rest of the neighborhood. That's communication, neighborhood watch within one neighborhood. One head neighbor doing a neighborhood watch for his neighborhood. You might have more than one. It's preferable to have one, because number two is what I'm proposing each neighborhood with their own neighborhood watch does. That same neighbor that took charge of that neighborhood are going to do the same thing with other neighborhoods. You got the head of this neighborhood, you got the head of this neighborhood, and the head of this neighborhood, and the head of this neighborhood, wherever he lives on the street. It's each neighborhood's responsibility, the head of each neighborhood, to get as much communication with his neighborhood as possible. Now what you're going to do is, here's the scenario. Let's say this is your neighborhood. You just happen to be in a circle neighborhood. Maybe you don't, but just pretend it's your neighborhood. And you're the head person. Your neighbors let you know, or you see it personally because you patrol or you just pay attention. You see a vehicle, let's say for the sake of simplicity, a blue vehicle coming into your neighborhood. It could be a vehicle you've seen before doing the same thing, suspicious acting, slowing down at each driveway, looking into your neighbor's drives, possibly leaning out the car, checking car doors. You see in your neighborhood this vehicle. You identify this vehicle the best you can. The time it came in, how many occupants are in the vehicle, what color the vehicle was, did it have any damage, like unique damage that would be noticeable from far away. At the very least, try to get a license plate, which is very important. Partial license plates are going to help. You need a full license plate. I have a way of looking up license plates. Anybody can do it. Alright, so you see this vehicle coming through your neighborhood, and you and your neighbors are well aware of what he's doing. and let's say you call the police are too slow. Well, after you finish calling the police, the head of that neighborhood, even if this happened the day before, it's still good to get the information out regardless. You have communication with the heads of all other neighborhoods, creating a large net to communicate with all of the neighborhoods in the surrounding town. Now, your neighborhood is protected as best as you can, because you're not going to get everybody, but at least you're going to try to identify. You're going to be more well aware of what's going on. What you're doing is you're sending the information out to your people, and because there's only one head of the neighborhood, it makes the communication simplistic, so that you can get communication with the other neighborhoods by talking to the head of each neighborhood watch. You see the simplicity here. Neighborhood watch here, neighborhood watch here, neighborhood watch here. All the different neighborhoods have their own neighborhood watch, but the head of the watch is communicating with other neighborhoods. Now let's say you catch this guy doing it right then. You have your mate, your husband, your wife, whoever's doing it, call the police. And while that call is being made, you're putting out the information to your neighborhood and these heads, giving as best description as you possibly can. Now, you don't catch him. Let's say you don't catch him, but he leaves your neighborhood, but you've got a really good description. You've already told all these other neighbors, all these other neighborhood watch teams, what to look for. So he leaves your neighborhood, and let's say you've already told everybody what's going on. He comes to this neighborhood. Idealistically, they're already looking out for him. And the more information that is sent out, the better the information, and the quicker you respond, the more likely they're going to get identified even more, maybe even a license plate that you couldn't get because you just saw him going in your neighborhood. Now the other neighborhood is more well prepared, and they're looking for him. They might get a license plate, or better yet, they might already have police in their neighborhood, like their neighbor is a policeman. Chances are they're going to get identified, at least identified. If they can get caught, even the better. But what I am noticing is these criminals, most of them are repeat criminals. We've been hit by the same criminals at least 2 or 3 times in my neighborhood that I know of since I've been watching. And it's been like a month and a half to 2 months apart every time they hit. So what we need to do is I start identifying these criminals and their vehicles and pass it on to all neighborhoods, tightening the net on them, tightening the noose, so that maybe they'll finally get caught and they won't get away, and people's stuff will not be taken. Now granted, there's a lot of criminals out here, but wouldn't you like to take a bite out of crime a little bit at least? So help me out. Multi-neighborhood watch system. Get your neighborhood up on board. Contact me. I will, with this video, give you a way to contact me. I need the head of each neighborhood to communicate with me so that we can start exchanging emails and information. I have a lot of information to pass on. Maybe you have too. And if you don't, trust me, if you start patrolling and you start communicating with your neighbors, you're going to find out there's a lot more going on than you know. That's what happened with me. I had no clue all this stuff was going on until I started realizing from the first 2 or 3 robberies that there's a problem. And when I started investigating, I uncovered a lot. The guys that had hit us, they stole my neighbor's car 2 doors down from me. And within 2 hours after that, they went to North Richland Hills with that car just to steal another car and rob from another neighborhood. Now, you have to be willing to do something. A lot of people are up in arms about the criminal activity. Oh, we need to do something. We need to do something. Well, as soon as you try to give them a call or give them a solution, you start getting ghosted. People are all up in arms about criminal activity until you give them a way to do something about it. Let's take action and actually do something about it. Help me out with this. There's a couple of neighborhoods I'm trying to get on board. They were all for it until I gave them the option to actually start acting and communicating with me. One person says he can't do it because he's medically handicapped. You have eyes. medically handicapped, as long as you have eyes or a way to sense what's going on, you can be helpful. Get your community together, and then the head of each community, contact me. Let's take action and start putting a stranglehold. Put a net out there. Slow these criminals down. Let's start communicating together. Let's move faster than they do. Okay? Help me out here. I look forward to hearing from you guys.